All right, we're on to test 1, section 2. First passage here is the one on Greek yogurt. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here, starting with number 1. So number 1 is, it has the sentence where we just have to change the underlined portion. So in order to answer this one, we need to get a little bit of context. So I'm going to actually start by reading at the very top of this passage, not this passage, this page. So it says, Greek yogurt business has found many methods of controlling and eliminating most environmental threats. Given these solutions, as well as many health benefits of the food, the advantages of Greek yogurt blank the potential drawbacks of its production. So we are comparing two things. We are talking about the advantages and the drawbacks, but the advantages are, in this case, going to be better than the drawbacks, is what the point of this sentence should be. So what we're trying to do is figure out which one would fit best. Now, when you look at answer choice A, outdo is kind of comparing like a competitive relationship between the health benefits and the drawbacks. And this really isn't a competitive relationship, which is why A is not going to work. B also kind of is the same way. It's a competitive relationship, which it is not. So B is not going to work either. Same thing with C. A, B, and C, again, we're all thinking competitive. And in this case, it is not competitive, so contextually, those answers aren't going to work. Outweigh does not show that competitive relationship, and it's going to fit best for number 1. Number 2 says, which choice provides the most relevant detail? So be aware on this question, in order to understand what is the most relevant detail, we need to know what the main idea of the paragraph is, because if we don't know that main idea, then we don't know what detail is most relevant for it. So as you're reading this paragraph, start to pay attention to the main idea. It says the main environmental problem caused by the production of Greek yogurt is the creation of acid whey as a byproduct. So we're talking about environmental concerns. So then they keep going. It says, because it requires up to 4 times more milk to make than conventional yogurt does, Greek yogurt produces large amount of acid whey, which is difficult to dispose of. And again, that is the environmental problem. So for number 2, we keep going, just reading up to that point. It says, to address the problem of disposal, farmers have found a number of uses for acid whey. So we got a number of uses for acid whey. They can add it to livestock feed as a protein, and then here we go. So what we're trying to do is find an answer that is relevant to the main idea, which deals with environmental issues. So if it's not dealing with the environment, hopefully in a positive way, because this is a use for it, then we don't want to pick that as an answer. So answer choice A says protein supplement, and people can make their own Greek-style yogurt at home. Again, that has nothing to do with the paragraph or environment or anything of that nature. So A is going to be incorrect. B says they can add it as a protein supplement and convert it into gas to use as fuel in electricity production. So that would probably help the environment. So I would keep that one. C says while sweet whey is more desirable as a food additive for humans. And again, they're just talking about the food itself and not about the environment. And D says they can add it as a protein supplement, which provides an important element of their diet. And again, in this case, when I'm thinking environment, I don't see answer choice D talking about environment. So a lot of people pick D, but it doesn't match the main idea of the paragraph. B does. So B is your answer. So that's going to be number 2. Number 3, it says, just asking, obviously we just have our answer choices here. We got to see which one fits. So as we scroll down here to the next sentence, it said, if it is improperly introduced into the environment, acid whey runoff can pollute waterways. And then if you look, answer choice B changes from answer choice A by putting the apostrophe S. Now, waterways with the apostrophe, that's going to more be, in this case, a possessive noun. This isn't really supposed to be possessive the way it's worded. Complete waterways is plural. There's lots of waterways. So if I look at that, I'm going to eliminate B and D for being, again, a possessive noun. So for number 3, we also have C and we have A. So if it is improperly introduced in the environment, acid-way runoff can pollute waterways or could have polluted waterways. So this one we're talking about verb tense, but the best verb tense in number 3 would be can potentially produce waterways. So we're going to match that up with answer choice A for having the proper tense for this sentence. So that's going to be number 3. Number 4 is going to talk about punctuation. So for this sentence, starting sentence number 6, it says yogurt manufacturers, food scientists, and government officials are also working together. Now what we have here is we have a list of things. We have yogurt manufacturers, food scientists, and then we have this punctuation and government officials. Now a semicolon is used or it's not used for a list in this case. So what we should be doing is using a comma. So I'm going to make sure I get rid of my semicolon. Also, we're on number 4. We're going to get rid of the colon because a colon would set up a list, but this is literally just the last item in a list, so it's not going to be A or B. And then we want to see, we don't put commas after the word and because we don't want this to end up being and as a non-essential clause. So our answer is actually going to be C. That's proper comma usage on number 4. Number 5 says to make this paragraph most logical, sentence 5 should be placed. So what we want to do is obviously look at sentence 5, and so I don't get my highlighting too messed up here, I'm going to change the color. But here's sentence 5, and what we want to do when we do these problems is first read sentence 5, understand what it says, and pay attention to any clues that would tell us what sentence should show up before it and what sentence should show up after it. So when you read number 5, trying to get some of those clues straight, it says if it is improperly introduced into the environment, acid-way runoff can pollute waterways, depleting the oxygen content of streams and rivers as it decomposes. Again, that is the sentence. Now when I read it a little bit closer here, we're talking about if it's improperly introduced in the environment. So we should probably have a sentence that introduces acid-way or acid-way runoff. And then we talk about how it could be used improperly or what the issues may be. So after that, we'd have to kind of see what might match, but we need to make sure it fits. Maybe they'll talk more about maybe how to fix it. They're going to, we've kind of introduced some of the issues with acid-way runoff, so they're going to kind of run with that ball at that point. So as you compare answer choices, let's just kind of go to the one that works here so to save time, because this is a problem that would take the most amount of time. So you just want to kind of see what it should look like. So we're going to say after sentence 2. So in this case, we would have sentence 2 starts here. It says because it requires up to 4 times more milk to make than conventional yogurt does, Greek yogurt produces larger amounts of acid whey, which is difficult to dispose of. So they've introduced acid whey and the issues potentially with disposal, which is again what we should be looking for. Then we have sentence 5. If it is improperly introduced into the environment, acid whey runoff can pollute waterways. See, it kind of goes off of that sentence, depleting the oxygen content of streams and rivers as it decomposes. Then you would read sentence 3. It says to address the problem of disposal, because we just said it would be difficult to dispose of, so to address the problem, they found a number of uses. So you see the sentence before, the sentence itself, and the sentence after all fit. That's how you find the answer here. You're going to have to take some time to do this properly. So again, number 5 should be C. Number 6 says the writer's considering deleting the underlined sentence. Should the writer do this? Now in this question, what you again have to be able to do, and this is true for almost any yes, no question, is figure out the main idea of the paragraph. And typically the explanation, even though they can word it in a lot of different ways, it comes down to did this sentence fit the main idea or did it not? And that's sometimes why you would keep it or why you would delete it. So anyway, this one that says if we're going to delete a sentence, let's see if it fits the main idea or not. So number 6 says, though these conservation methods can be costly and time-consuming, they are well worth the effort. So again, though these methods are costly and time-consuming, they are well worth the effort. So it looks like they're setting up a paragraph that's going to talk about the conservation methods in a positive light. So if the paragraph is doing that, then this does a good job of setting that up. So what we want to look and see is the rest of this paragraph, does it match that? Well, it says nutritionalists consider Greek yogurt to be a healthy food. So I'm already seeing that a little bit now. It is an excellent source of calcium and protein, serves to be a digestive aid, and it contains few calories in its unsweetened, low and non-fat forms. As I'm reading this, I can already tell this should stay because you don't want to delete it, which means the yes is wrong because they're saying should we delete it? We should keep it. So the reason why is it does a good job of setting up the paragraph. I mean, the paragraph is about good things, so about the Greek yogurt. So we want to make sure that we keep that, and that's why. So when you look at the answer choices, the one that would match is D. It says no, don't delete it because it sets up. That's what it's doing. The argument in the paragraph for the benefits of Greek yogurt. All that is there. That's what we're doing. So your answer for number 6 is going to be D. Number 7 says, and it's just changing this underlined portion. So nutritionalists consider Greek yogurt to be a healthy food. It is an excellent source of calcium and protein, and it serves blank, a digestive aid. So in this case, what we're trying to do is we're trying to see the proper prepositional phrase that goes with the word serves. We got serves and then blank. So what is the standard English convention for this statement? So in this case, as you're going through, it shouldn't be serves to be. Serves as does seem to fit. That is the proper prepositional phrase that you would use. So that one looks good. It's not serves like or serves for. Again, we're looking for the proper preposition to go with serves. In this case, B is going to be the proper one to do that. So that's going to be number 7. Number 8, we are wanting to see which answer fits in that underlined portion as well. So it says serves as a digestive aid and contains. In this case, we're looking for the word contains. First off, it is a little bit redundant. So again, if you don't need the word it and you can just say contains, that's going to fit. So it's not going to be A. Containing changes the verb tense. It's not parallel structure. So we're not going to keep B or D because again, this thing, Greek yogurt contains. That's going to be, Greek yogurt is singular, contains is singular, so those are going to match up as well. So singular verb, I should say. Singular verbs end in an S. So in this case, C is going to be your proper answer for number 8. Number 9 is looking like we're doing some transitional phrases here. So it says, in this sentence, Greek yogurt is slightly lower in sugar and carbohydrates than conventional yogurt. And again, when I do a transitional phrase question, I want to read the sentence before and what comes before that transitional phrase, which is the sentence before, and what comes after the transitional phrase. So Greek yogurt is slightly lower in sugar and carbs than conventional yogurt. And then we say, because it is more concentrated, Greek yogurt contains slightly more protein per serving, thereby helping people stay. And then we'll get to number 10 and talk about that in just a second. So we are saying something good and something good. It has lower sugar and carbs and more protein. So I'm thinking something good, which means I want to, in this case, try to find if there's something that I would say is negative. I would get rid of it. I don't really see that here, so that doesn't really seem to fit. So what we want to do once we figure out positive, negative, if there's anything to eliminate, we would. Then the next thing we do is we figure out what kind of relationship do we have. Well, it looks like to me that we're saying some good things, and they are specific things. This is what makes Greek yogurt good, and this is what also makes Greek yogurt good. Now, when I say that, yeah, I use the word, but again, it's because it's just natural. But understand what that word also means. It just means you're adding additional information. So we're not going to say in other words, because that's trying to say the exact same thing using different words, and that's not what we're doing. Therefore is more of a cause and effect, which this is not a cause and effect. And for instance would be if I had a generality and then I want to give specific examples after that general statement. Well, I don't have a general statement before this sentence, so that doesn't seem to fit either. We are just adding additional information, and that's what number 9 does. So that brings us to number 10. This problem contains, I'd say, a word that most people may not understand with the word satiated. Just understand, again, if you don't know what a word means, what we want to do is look at the other words as well and be aware of that. If you know what satiated would mean, then number 10 probably isn't very hard. But what we're looking for is something that, the Greek yogurt contains slightly more protein per serving, thereby helping people stay, and I would look at this as full for longer periods of time. It gives them that full feeling. Now, you have to know, what does that mean? Well, if you don't know what satiated means, don't get rid of it. What you do is you look at the other answers. Now, if you say someone is full, would you say they're fulfilled? Like if you were full and you're done eating, you don't say, wow, I'm fulfilled. That doesn't work in this context. So they're trying to maybe get you to pick it because you think fill and you're full. But just because those words are there does not mean they work in that context. So B is actually not good at all. It's a terrible way to say that you're full. Complacent and sufficient, again, same thing. These are not words you would use to say that you're full. So even though we don't know that or you may not know what satiated means, based off process elimination, it has to be A. And again, satiated, it's really the only choice that's really going to communicate the concept that you are full, and that's what satiated basically means. You're satisfied. So this way, we're just going to go ahead and pick A for number 10. And then next up, we have number 11. So this one looks like we're doing working with some punctuation here as a grammar question. And this one says because, and this is probably important to note here because I see therefore later, and that's going to be an issue, but because consumers reap the nutritional benefits of Greek yogurt and support those who make and sell it. And again, right off the bat, I said I notice if you're going to say because at the beginning of the sentence, you're not going to later say therefore. So this one is not going to be A, definitely. So then we want to look and see, for example, the colon. A colon is a very simple rule to check because it should give you a list or an explanation afterwards. Well, we have kind of a cause and effect relationship here because of these things. Farmers and businesses should continue finding safe and effective methods. It is not giving you a list or a definition as a cause and effect. So it's not going to be a colon either. Next, you want to see, do you need the word so? Because you want to pick the most clear and concise answer. And here, in this case, if you look at it, we don't need so. It makes sense without that word, which means we're going to pick the most clear and concise answer, which is going to be answer choice B. So that's going to be number 11. That's your first passage on Test 1, Section 2.